Hi everyone, it's good to be back with you. I was out of town for a period of time at a large soaping conference in Hartford, Connecticut. What an adventure that was. I met some wonderful people on the trip and got way behind on work. I was gone almost a full week, so catching back up on shipping and communications has taken a little bit of time. And also the preps for that trip was very time consuming as well. But all that being said, I'm back at it again. I just made a soap, which you're going to see in this video. And also we'll have a couple of follow-up videos on a couple of topics from that trip and things I've learned and a few things that I want to share with you as well. So come on along with me as we put this soap together and have some fun. I'm making a soap today and I'm going to be using a new ingredient. For color, I'm mixing pandan leaf with my spinach and kale leaf along with a little bit of spirulina. I want to make a green, kind of a gradient, but not really a gradient. You'll see what I mean. Listen, I'm just getting back into making again. I've been off on my trip to the soap convention in Hartford with I never can get this right, the HSCG, Handmade Soap and Cosmetic Guild. I think that's right. Anyway, and this is going to be fragranced with the essential oils of Litsea Cubeba and Rosemary, and it's just fantastic. These smell wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead now and get my goat milk mixed in, and then we'll come back and we're going to chat some more. So let's get this blended. I think we're about emulsified here, and I'm going to separate out some here. Just going to hand mix this to start with. I just want to, what is the word? Hydrate it. I have to get back in the mode of talking on camera again. I've been out of town. Oh, what a trip I had. Much of it was a lot of fun. I think I'll do a separate video on some of the adventures that I had on this trip. Some things that went right and some things that went wrong. Because it wasn't all smooth. But overall, I was very happy with how things went. Here, I'm going to hit this with the stick blender real quick here. So I'm going to do this a bit differently than normal. Let me scooch everything over here. Scoot it out of the way. All right, so I'm first going to pour a bit of the uncolored soap in. I'm going to add a bit of the green to the main batter. Not too much. Give that a mix. That Litsea and rosemary is just wonderful. Okay. I know this is an odd way to do it. I just wanted to do something different. Add a bit more of the green. Okay. Bit more. Let's see, I think, hang on. Yeah, I know I've got a big green blob here in the center, but so be it. There we are. So what do you think? Is that better? That light was a little bright, wasn't it? Let's cut it and see what we've got. Okay, everyone. I already started cutting it into loaves. I'm sorry, I started the video and forgot to turn on the microphone. So luckily I realized it quickly and was able to stop it so I could restart it. All right. Anyway, what I was talking about was I love traveling. I love going to new places and seeing new things and meeting new people. That to me was the best part of this whole trip, was getting to do things out of my comfort zone. I generally am not a fan of big crowds, but it's part of life. Going through the airport, oh yep, my least favorite. I love flying, I hate airports. But one thing that certainly affected my trip was something that happened at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, or the Dallas airport, when I flew out. You know, when you go through TSA, you take off your boots and your shoes. In my case, I was wearing some dress boots and a belt. And I went through TSA, went through security and all that, waited for my luggage to come through, and then had to put my boots and my belt back on. That was the intention. I went through, I got my luggage and everything, and I moved toward a bench and sat down, laid my belt on the bench, put on my boots, then got up, grabbed my luggage, and left my belt. So for my entire trip, I was pulling up my pants. Now, some would say, well, Patrick, why didn't you go to a store and buy a new belt? Well, I will tell you why. Because the trip to Hartford, that whole event, which I'll talk more about in the next video, was awful. Not the trip itself, not the town, but the way that I dealt with their roads, finding things. I was lost multiple times. I ended up on the interstate several times when I did not want to be on the interstate. I went 10 and 20 miles out of my way sometimes to go 2 blocks. That's not an exaggeration. That really happened. And for the only thing that made me feel better about it all is there were actually some people there from the area. And they even said, as locals, that the roads drove them crazy. So that made me feel a little better. Maybe it wasn't true. Maybe they were just saying that to make me feel better. And if that's the case, thank you for that. But anyway, okay, yes. So I didn't take the opportunity to shop and buy a new belt. And so here I am walking around all the time, tugging up my pants because I had lost some weight recently anyway, which I suppose is a good thing. And actually bought new clothes for the event, some clothes. But to be having to constantly tug up your pants was a little embarrassing, but I think in a way that made me more comfortable because it was something else to concentrate on and not have to think about all the other things about myself that I sometimes feel self-conscious about. So the most wonderful part of this conference was getting to meet so many wonderful people. I met Catherine McGinnis from Soaping 101. If you haven't watched that channel, you're missing out. You should. I got to meet Tammy from Walnut Creek Soap. I got to meet the Rainbow craft dudes at the conference. I got to meet, so many wonderful people. And that to me was the most exciting part, was getting to meet other people with common interests and common love of soaping. All right, so here we go. So you can see I did get some variation using the darker and the lighter tones, but it is a very nice green soap. It's similar to other soaps that I've made using green, but what I like is that using the additional botanical, did give a nice darker variation in the tones, which I can really appreciate. And it smells so good. The rosemary and that Litsea are just tremendous. But yes, getting to meet wonderful people, to get to share tips and ideas, which was so cool because I actually had people asking for my advice, which I'm not sure how much I can offer, but people asking questions about tallow and how I use it and how I make the things that I make, and asking for tips and tricks and things like that was so cool. I really did enjoy getting to share what I know with other people and to get to learn from them, because I am not too old to learn. None of us are. And I think that is the greatest gift of all, is, getting to pick up knowledge from others, getting to learn, from people who also have an awful lot of experience, and learning that no matter how long you've done something or how new you are at it, that you can learn, that you can pick up knowledge, and that you can even help someone else. There were people there who just started soaping in the pandemic. And there were people there who have been soaping like me for many years. And there were things to learn from people who had not, been doing it a long time, who had not been tainted by, years of old information, that they had learned how to do these things from maybe sometimes from other amateurs. But the advantage of that is making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. I'm very pleased with the color of these. So that's great. That's great. They smell fantastic. And I think these a little bit more hand size bars are growing on me. I'll still make my tallow bars large because that's the market that I've created for myself. But I love that these smaller bars are a little more accessible to more people. I hope you enjoyed visiting with me a little bit. And I'm not giving you a false promise. I'm going to do another video on the trip and how it went. I've actually got some video to share with you from the trip. Some of my scary stuff, like getting from my parking space to my room. That's an adventure in itself, but more of that later. Thanks everyone for visiting with me. I'll see you back soon. Goodbye.